Monday morning and welcome to KSAT News Now. It's a Monday, RJ.
Yes, it is definitely a Monday. I'm feeling it.
Yeah, so first day that we're going to be streaming and podcasting this week at 11. And in RJ's words, go ahead and like, rate, and subscribe on all of our pages.
That stuff. Yeah, definitely always appreciate people getting on the podcast as well to check us out on KSAT News Now. So yeah, I was off on Friday and yet my weekend felt like it went way too quick. Moving, not the greatest thing in the world, but I got most of it done, so we're almost there.
Adulting stuff, it's never that fun.
Adulting, never fun.
But I'm proud of you. You made some progress.
Yeah,
so.
we did. We did make some progress. Moved some boxes, and our former producer, Alyssa, was like, you look a little bit darker today. And I was like, well, I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but I was out in the, just moving stuff back and forth.
My husband did some yard work, and he got sunburnt. He's like, I didn't realize it was that hot.
Yeah.
But he's burnt now.
Yeah, I think on Saturday, especially like kind of middle of the day, because when we were moving stuff, I was just like, oh my God, like what is going on here? It is really warm, yes. So Sarah Spivey, she's raising her hand over here.
May I come into the picture?
Yeah.
Hi everyone, good morning. What's really cool is it could be cold. It could be 30 degrees, and if there's total sun, put on that sunscreen.
Yes.
Listen, Sarah Coast and I, we talk about this every weekend. We are advocates for sunscreen, so let's SPF people.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah, always never leave home without it. I usually have with me. I did not see that coming.
I bet your babies are just...
Yes, when I take them out, and then I have a shimmer sunscreen. So like Edward Cullen when I go outside. But yeah, my husband doesn't use that one.
Well, I'll be back to talk about a little bit of sun in our future.
Yeah, definitely. All right, thank you very much,
Speaking of weather, so I was saying spring is in the air almost, right? It's not officially the first day of spring until March 20th, but if you're looking at our pollen count, the oak is already here, and I'm feeling it. I don't know about you.
Felt that too over the weekend. Yeah, that was something where I was like, wait a minute. Oh, okay, that definitely came in, and I was like, okay, I'm starting to sneeze a lot more here. Not great. So yeah, we'll talk about that in just a little bit, but we also have a lot of interesting other things to get to, including a very important day in history here in the Alamo City, as today marks the beginning of the Battle of the Alamo. So way to kind of recognize that in a ceremony there downtown.
Yes, and then this is always, a question for everyone. Should daylight saving time end? We're going to be talking a little bit about that. We're also talking about a jam-packed Spurs weekend in the one and only stick figure sports.
Yes. Well, it wasn't great, but... But all that, of course, coming up. But first, talking about a pretty big story here out of the Galveston area.
Yes, right now a search is underway for 2 teen boys who were last seen yesterday. Now, according to our Houston sister station, KPRC, the 13-year-old boys, Jefferson and Josue Perez, were last seen in the water near Pleasure Pier. The family says the water was about waist deep where these teens were at. Yeah,
that's kind of the last time they saw them there. So this all happened around 4:30 p.m. Family members say that they searched for about an hour before they called 911, and that's when multiple agencies, including the Coast Guard, the Galveston Beach Patrol, police, fire, and emergency medical services responded there.
Those crews spent about 4 hours searching the area and the water last night. They did stop searching around 9 o'clock, and they're back out there again this morning.
Galveston police are urging parents to keep children close by while visiting the pier or by the beach. They say the current is stronger during the spring and summer and can definitely be dangerous. And so this is a developing story. We will continue to bring you the very latest updates as they come in. But very scary stuff there, especially around spring break.
Exactly.
People are just out kind of having a good time.
Yeah, and I think that that's kind of the thing to take here. If you're planning on going anywhere for spring break that's near a beach, near a pier, you definitely want to, keep an eye on your children, especially the young ones. But these are teens that you kind of would think, maybe they were off doing their own thing, or they have a little bit more, trust with their parents. But any kids, anyone, even adults, when the current is strong, it can really just take anybody under. But of course, they haven't found the teens, so we don't know actually that they went under officially.
Yeah, you mentioned the riptide can be like scary there because you don't realize how strong it is. I remember obviously going to the beach with family growing up. We'd go a lot down to like Padre Island and things like that, and I would be out there out in the middle of the water. And you're right, it's more of a thing that where, you know, I guess if you're a parent and your kids are a little bit older, you kind of get the sense like they might be okay, you know, being out there, 2 13-year-old boys. So you figure they'll be okay. But yeah, you can never tell with those currents and the riptide down there. So it's a very scary situation.
Yeah, and again, that search is going on right now. So as soon as we get any updates, we will be reporting that to you on air and on KSAT.com.
All right, so back here at home, today marks 187 years since the Battle of the Alamo, and this morning a large crowd of people were there to witness what is called a dawn at the Alamo.
This ceremony is meant to honor and remember both armies and the sacrifices that were made that day.
That's right. General Santana's army surrounded the Alamo on February 26th. Then at dawn on March 6th, the fighters inside made their final stand. So a Remember the Defenders event will also take place today at 6 this evening. So if you're not able to be up early and out there for that ceremony, this is also kind of a continuation of the day's events.
Yeah, and this is obviously an annual event, but a lot of people always go out there to witness this. So I personally have never been. Have you?
No, never actually seen this, but I know they do basically like the full salute, and it's a 90-minute thing that they have out there to mark sort of the end of the 13-day siege. So yeah, very interesting event that we have here locally.
Yep. So we have Sarah Acosta, who is down there today.
Yeah.
She's going to be putting this full story together, and we'll bring that to you on the news at noon.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, always important part of our history here with the Alamo. Okay, so the warmer weather over the weekend inspired some people to head out and about to North St. Mary's Street and enjoy some food and drinks. Never a bad idea.
Never. While it's a good sign for businesses, some business owners say it's not enough to combat the losses from COVID and the ongoing construction.
Yeah, this has been sort of a thing that these business owners have had to deal with for a long time now. So these owners along the Strip, so many of them applied for the city's COVID-19 construction recovery grants. Now those applications closed at the end of February.
Businesses can get between $10,000 and $35,000 from the grant to help with revenue loss. The co-owner of Tycoon Flat says the construction is making it hard for customers to try and come into the restaurant. And this is something that's been going on for a really long time right now. The Strip is not far from the KSAT station. So yeah, we're going to be hearing right now from one of those business owners.
People have been resilient and they're trying to come, but it's hard because they don't know how to read all of the signs.
All right, and that was Malcolm Hartman there. He's the co-owner of Tycoon Flats, and you know, he was talking about just the amount of construction that has taken place there over the past couple of years. So hopefully this helps them sort of recover from some of those losses, but I don't really think you can ever fully sort of recover from that. I mean, this has been ongoing for years and years, and obviously COVID put a huge pause to these types of projects taking place there, especially on the Strip. With some other ones, Broadway, La Villita. There's just like several areas along our areas where a lot of these business owners have really had to suffer some of the consequences of this.
Yeah, and I guess the good thing is that a lot of these businesses are well known, so they do have kind of that recurring customer, you know, those devoted, faithful people. But yeah, new people who aren't familiar with maybe where to park in like the nearby areas and all of that, it's definitely a hard time navigating an already complicated kind of situation downtown.
Confusing.
Yeah,
yeah, it's very confusing to kind of have to drive through, or not drive through barriers, but go around barriers and try and figure out where to go eat or get some food there on the St. Mary's Strip and all these other locations. So yeah, good for them. They're getting a little bit of a recovery there, but I imagine it's been a little bit of a tough deal.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on to daylight saving time, which I remember doing a story on this last year and getting very a little confused about all this stuff. So a bill that's been reintroduced into the Senate aims to put an end to adjusting clocks for good.
The Sunshine Act was originally introduced in March of last year. The bill was able to pass the Senate but never made it to the House of Representatives for a vote.
All right, so farmers have lobbied against daylight saving time, saying the lost hour in the morning disrupts getting crops to the market and makes it hard to adjust the body clocks of livestock. Interesting.
Also, southern states that have hotter summers generally prefer to have an hour less of daylight during those months. So big question here, Sarah, RJ.
Yeah.
What do you prefer?
Guys, guess what? I wrote a whole article about this on KSAT.com. It's called "Here's What Permanent Daylight Saving Time Would Mean for San Antonio and South Central Texas." I'm just reminding myself of what I said a year ago. And again, the biggest thing is, of course, we wouldn't have to change our clocks at all. And then it also means later sunrises in the winter. So from late December through early January, the sun would actually rise closer to 8:30 in the morning.
Seems so late.
I know, right? And also it would mean, though, brighter evenings from early November through early March. So the sunset would occur closer to 6:30 rather than 5:30 in the winter. So it would mean a later morning, well, as far as the sunrise goes in the winter, and more sunlight later in the day too. So
I kind of like that.
I like the longer day. Yeah, like not the longer day, I shouldn't say, but I like when it's more sun later in the day.
And see, I'm somebody who wakes up early, like for my work schedule. So going to bed while it's still sunny outside is just a little bit of an issue.
Oh yeah, that is
But
weird.
again, it's all preference, right?
Yeah.
So we'll have to wait and see what happens. You know.
I know. I mean, I'm so used to it, even though it irks my nerves about changing the clocks and stuff. I'm so used to it, so it definitely would be a change.
It's a good reminder, next Saturday night into Sunday morning, we're springing forward. So you're going to set your clocks
losing
forward.
an hour.
Yep, exactly. Exactly. And I know you guys were talking a little bit earlier about the pollen count, about the oaks. So I wanted to start with that today. Oak is continuing to steadily rise. Currently it's moderate, but I mean, tree pollen in general, each of these individual tree pollens, hackberry, mulberry, pine, elm, and ash, individually they're all low, but when you combine them, you know, tree pollen is pretty high. And so that's the reason why a lot of people are having allergy issues. And we're just getting started with oak season. So oak season usually peaks in early April here. So we're right here. So we've got a long time with oak continuing to rise. And so it's going to be a long season. It usually comes to the end of early May. That's about when we start to see oak come to an end. So just get ready. I've been taking my allergy medicine too. As we take a look at the satellite and the visibility, we've had a lot of humidity in the air today. In fact, this morning we've had areas of fog. We're still seeing visibility less than a perfect 10 miles out in New Braunfels, Port SA, JBSA, Randolph. But as you can see in the satellite, we are starting to see some holes in the clouds, some peaks of sunshine. So it's actually going to be a pretty warm day today. As you look ahead at your KSAT 12-hour forecast, again, temperatures will be climbing into the low 80s this afternoon, a lot like the last couple of afternoons, 82 for the high, and it's going to be a really mild evening. After the sun sets close to 6:30, temperatures are still going to be in the 70s. So you don't need the jacket all day, even if you have late Monday night plans. And we're just getting started with the warmth because tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday, highs are going to be in the mid 80s. We do get a front that moves through on Friday. We'll talk about our rain chances there in just a second, where temperatures will dip down into the mid 70s. But by Sunday, another warm day and then another front. This one will set our highs back into the 60s for the start of next week. It is looking like spring break could be cooler than average, not necessarily cold, but just cooler than average. The average high temperature this time of year is in the low 70s, so we'll keep you updated. But first I want to take you through the week. Again, it's going to be pretty warm this week, and the reason for that, there's going to be a front that stalls across North Texas. So areas north of Dallas and around Dallas are going to be pretty chilly on Wednesday when that front moves through. I'm actually going up to Dallas, so I'm going to be wearing sweaters while everybody here in San Antonio is sweating. We're going to be warm and humid. But by Friday, that front is going to be able to push south. This is a snapshot at Thursday in the evening hours, but by Friday, that front is going to move through San Antonio, and yeah, I think there's about a 30% chance for storms as far as coverage goes. So not everybody's going to see storminess, but there is a chance for about 30% of the viewing area to see some storms on Friday. It's that time of year where any storms that develop typically could become strong, so just stick with us. We're going to have updates for you on the KSAT weather app as we head into Friday. And again, Saturday night into Sunday, spring forward. We lose an hour of sleep.
Wow. Okay.
So-
Not looking forward to that at all.
Yeah.
But I mean, hopefully that rain will bring a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, this past weekend was kind of ideal for me weather-wise. It was like
So perfect.
Yeah.
All weekend long, because I was working here, I called it the best weekend of 2023 so far.
right.
I think it
was.
lived up to the hype.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. Minus
yeah.
the sunburn for my husband.
Well, there you go. I was going to say, and even on Saturday, it was a little warm there kind of during the middle part of the day, and then it got really nice.
Yeah.
Like really cool.
Evenings.
Yes.
Yes.
It was super nice.
It was so breezy.
Gorgeous.
What a
Let's
good
go back
weekend
to
it
that.
was. You know, it was not a
We do
good
need rain,
weekend
though.
for Spurs.
No, it has not been very good weekends for the Spurs this entire season. Okay, so time now for, you see right there, Stick Figure Sports, the greatest sports segment ever in the history of
The
all
greatest.
sports. The greatest. Yeah, okay, so let's see, who we got here? Okay, we have the Spurs, right? All right, let me just get my little pen out here.
And so they went up against the Houston Rockets not once but two
Yeah,
times.
so they had this weird thing where they played, Landon, were they Friday night here at home? Saturday. Okay, they played Saturday here at home, and then they played yesterday in Houston. So kind of this weird back and forth up I-10. So here's our Spurs. Let's do a couple of our little players here. All right.
Let's see, what do you
what's
got
going on here?
on?
Yes, these are Spurs, and we got a couple of other stick men. I mean, this is Stick Figure Sports, and these are all very, very sad stick men. So hopefully, I'm trying to do like a
Sad.
little, yes, very sad because we lost 2 games to the Rockets this weekend. It was not pretty. 122 to 110 here at home, and then 142 to 110 in Houston. So we were 0-2 against Houston this weekend. Brutal. Yes.
Yes.
So that okay. On top of that, not the Houston Brahmas, the San Antonio
Hold on,
Brahmas.
hold on,
Go.
hold on.
You're gonna do
I'm
some
gonna
Spurs.
draw right here is, you know, we had Landon, and I think he was with 2 people. And Landon attended.
Who were you with, Landon?
My mom and stepmom.
Okay, sweet.
So this is Landon.
Producer Landon.
Producer Landon attended his very first Spurs game over
Yeah.
the weekend. And even though they lost, he did tell us that he had fun because it's always about the atmosphere, guys. The atmosphere at a Spurs game inside the AT&T Center, it's like no other.
You don't have to lie to us, Landon.
Wow,
So this is
RJ.
like clank, clank. Yeah, no, actually, yeah, it was not pretty here for the Spurs. They lose both games to Houston, but the good news is that we are still on our ways for the tank, which of course means that we get the top draft pick next year. So here's my little tank, which is like, dee-dee-dee-dee, yay, Spurs. This is what the fans are hoping for. Okay, so they want us to get the worst record in the league so we can get the #1 pick in the draft next summer.
There's
This
a
summer,
caveat
actually.
to
yes,
that.
and that's you here back there is Andrew. Yeah. What's up, Andrew?
We always appreciate
Okay,
it,
the Brahmas.
Andrew.
Here we go. The Brahmas. I'm not even going to try and draw a Brahma this time. I'm just going to. No, I'm not going to do
Let's see, a
the Brahma
Brahma.
this time. Here.
I'll
can
draw
you
it
do
right
that?
here. Let's see.
Yeah, by the way, Priscilla is very, very artistic.
I
Priscilla,
mean, don't
you're
give
very
me
good.
that much credit, but
I can do their little helmet.
hey,
They have
Oh, there's like a
horn. Yeah. This is like a horn. Brahma. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Okay, so Brahmas
There you
were
go.
playing here. We'll do a little football. They were in Houston also, and they lost their game yesterday. So we are now 1-2. We lost to the Houston Roughnecks. And so if you've not seen them, the Houston Roughnecks, basically that's like their logo right there. And it's like an oil drill.
are you sure that's what the that looks like the thimble from Monopoly?
It's an oil drill.
I'm kidding, RJ. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I know. So we're 1-2 now. So overall, not a good weekend for San Antonio teams, as you
Yeah,
can see
and,
here
like,
in Houston.
What's up, Houston? Give
Yeah.
us a break.
Hey, look, but what are we better at than Houston? I wrote down a couple of things. Breakfast tacos, right? We're better at
Tacos,
breakfast.
duh.
Yeah. Are we better at barbecue than Houston?
I mean, I don't think I've ever had barbecue in Houston, but I'm gonna say,
Right.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
duh.
So yeah. So you know what? We'll take the L's right now, but you know what? We win the game of life in terms of the food here and the festivities. And that's Andrew over there laughing.
Wait, I love Andrew's laugh. Thank you, Andrew. You're the
Okay,
best.
so the Spurs, when are we back on the court here? All right, will this season never end? Hopefully Hopefully it'll end for us soon. Okay, the Spurs are back, and they're playing at home here against Denver. Oh, all the way until Friday. Spurs got
Come on, they
4
have
days
some time
off.
to prepare for redemption. Come on, Spurs.
We got it. Go Spurs, go.
And you have some time to redeem yourself with your drawing. So
Yeah,
he's
no,
gonna
that's
get some
not
more
going to get
practice
any
in.
better anytime soon. Okay, I think that's going to wrap us up for Stick Figure Sports and also KSAT News Now.
Yeah, thank you, RJ. And
All
thank
right.
you guys for watching. We'll see you tomorrow at 11.
Bye, y'all.
When we win the game of life? What is that? What is that?
Game of life.